Hey, what's up? What's up? All right. Hey, bittersweet. I'm having like a little bittersweet kind of weekend or last couple of days. And bittersweet's not even a term that I even associate with, I've never used before relative to anything with me. A lot of people say I don't even have any emotion. That's not true. I do have emotion. I just don't visibly wear my emotion. Anyway, bittersweet weekend last couple of days. Today is Sunday. On Friday, I had two things happen on the same day. One was bitter, one was sweet. So I can start with the sweet. The sweet was, and I'm gonna make this kind of as quick as possible because I'm gonna talk fast because I'm gonna do a video about her later, or a couple videos about her later. Matter of fact, we made a couple TikToks this weekend. So the sweet is, I came back in contact with a little girl that used to be, was my adopted daughter when I was in a previous relationship. How that happened is, I met this lady who was a foster mother, and I had a lot of dealings with foster parents and foster home, group homes because of what I did. I ran a police athletic league. I also owned my own Big Brother program. I mentored to a lot of kids. But my specialty was young females, girls. I was always real good with girls. As a matter of fact, all my girls are girls. All right. So and actually I have four goddaughters that I some of them I partially raised. They came out of foster homes and group homes. But anyway, so me coming in contact with this young lady that I was in a relationship with had nothing to do with the foster homes. It was just a coincidence. I was working a case, and that's how I came in contact with her. And she just happened to be a foster mother. She was a foster mother to a little Caucasian girl, right? Named Belle. Her nickname is Belle. Belle, B-E-L-L, which is coincidence because this bittersweet thing kind of happened on the same day. That's Belle. And then the next person I'm going to talk about, their name kind of rhymes with it. So she, on Friday, I came back in contact with her because I hadn't been in contact with her for years because me and her mother went our separate ways, and the relationship, dissolved. And we just kind of fell out of contact with each other. Every now and again on birthdays or something like that, she would say something, I'd say something to her, or text or whatever, but that was it. And sad thing about that, when you're in a relationship with somebody else, when you're in a relationship and there's kids involved, sometimes when the adults don't know how to, work things out and figure out things, sometimes the children suffer. Now, the little girl was already troubled. She already had issues. She came to her with the issues that she had. And by us, going our separate ways, I think it made it worse. I guess I'm ahead of myself. Anyway, she was a foster mother at first, and then she decided she wanted to adopt her, right? It was going to be a challenge in itself because she's a little Caucasian girl. She's an African American female living in the Baltimore County, Baltimore City area, okay? So it was already going to be a challenge. And then plus she had her little, whatever problem she already had. All right. So she decided she wanted to adopt her. When she adopted her, Belle was around other kids that had like two parents, had a mother and a father. So she wanted me to be her, she had been around my girls and my goddaughters, and they called me Pop or calling me Dad, and she wanted the same thing. So she asked if I could be her dad. I told her yes. So that's why I say adopted daughter, and the adoptive in the description is, I think I put it in quotation marks. On a TikTok in the description I put it in quotation marks because I didn't really adopt her. It was like an informal adoption. So yes, I informally adopted her. She was my daughter. I was her dad, all that. And that was then, okay? So when her mother and I, when that relationship dissolved and we went our separate ways, we kind of just fell out of contact with each other. And plus she was getting in trouble at the time. I was busy. I wasn't coming around like I was coming around. So she didn't have the discipline that, that I would have probably given her, or the conversations and stuff that I should have been giving her then. So that was jacked up. All right. So we went our separate ways. She got into so much trouble that her mother really couldn't handle her anymore, and she ended up becoming a ward of the state again, okay, so to speak. And she was in and out of different group homes, da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, fast forward. The sweet about this is that she just turned 18 in last month, September. And this part ain't sweet, but she got into some trouble at the group home that she was in, and serious trouble, and she got locked up. So I'm not going to talk about what she did, but she got some serious trouble. She got locked up, and she was locked up for the last 3 weeks. So this week we got her past that. She got out, and she didn't have an address to go to because they weren't going to let her go back to the group home where she got into trouble with. So she had to come back home with her mother. All right. So mother contacted me, wanted me to talk to her and try to, whatever. So what I did was I told her not to tell her, but I was going to take her with me on Friday. I did a TikTok a couple days ago where I went up to Pennsylvania to do get some maintenance done on the trailer. So I let her. I surprised her. I showed up, picked her up, threw her in the truck with me, and she went up to Pennsylvania with me. Everything picked right back up. Dad, daughter, vanilla, chocolate, that was us. Everything picked right back up where it was, back from in the day. So she told me a lot of stuff about what had been happening to her, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we had a couple of discussions. I didn't want to get too deep because we hadn't been around each other in years. So I'm going to slowly, fix that as we go along. Okay, so that was the sweet that me and Bill were able to connect on that day and pick back up right where we left off. So she spent the whole day with me on Friday, and then we used to do all kind of stuff together, just like a normal, father-daughter would do. I was a Harley rider. I don't ride anymore. I ride, but I've since sold my bikes. I've had multiple bikes. She used to ride with me on my motorcycle. I'd come pick her up, we'd go, riding or whatever. And I would get the weird looks, older black man, this young white female, and people just staring at us like, okay, why is he with her? So had flashbacks on Friday because we went to go eat, and everywhere we went, we were getting the same thing. People looking at us like, what is he doing with her? So anyway, well, I'm her dad, whatever. So that's that. That was the sweet that we were able to connect and pick back up where we left off. So when we finished on Friday in Pennsylvania, we headed back down to Maryland so that I could drop her off, and then I can go down and drop the truck off and park it at the yard. So after I dropped her off, matter of fact, we made a video. It's on TikTok called Special Delivery. We made a video on for TikTok, and then I left and headed back towards the yard. As I was driving back to the yard, now here comes the bitter. The bitter is, I happened to call my cousin. I have an aunt that has been sick since about probably this time last year. Her health started diminishing with dementia, and she had some other health problems. She had congestive heart failure. Her health got really bad. So I guess around December of last year, it actually got bad enough where she became, she wasn't even walking anymore, she became bedridden. She became bedridden and was actually on hospice. There's nothing else they could do for her at the hospital. But she had been holding on all this time, all right? Her name is Aunt Dale. Now, I'm gonna say Aunt because this is a mixed audience. I'm from the South, we normally say Auntie, so my Auntie, right? But some of y'all ain't gonna know what that is, so I'm gonna say Aunt, my Aunt Dale. So Bill, which was the sweet, and then the bitter is what's going on with my Aunt Dale. So I always call my cousin to check up. She only had one daughter. She had a daughter and a granddaughter. Her daughter is my cousin. So I was calling my cousin to check up on her and to see how she was doing. And normally, every time I call people, I usually say something stupid right at the beginning of the phone call. And normally, the same thing I did with her. So when she said hello, I said something stupid. She paused. And she says, "Hey, I think mom is gone." So I'm like, "What?" Because it caught me off guard. Although we've been expecting it, it just caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it then. I had such a great day that day, hanging out with Belle and just having fun, and then to hit me with that. So she told me that she'd already checked, because it just happened just then when I was calling. She said that she'd already checked and couldn't see any signs of her breathing. Couldn't find a pulse. So I told her to go do a couple other things just to check and see, and all those came out to be negative. So then she decided to call. I guess when you're in hospice, there's no need to call 911, especially if you're thinking that she passed. So she called the on-call nurse that takes care of her, the home nurse that comes in to take care of her, called her, and she was waiting for her to arrive to come and confirm. So the nurse did arrive, and my Aunt Dale passed on Friday, 2 days ago. So Aunt Dale was, and that's not her real name. Dale is a nickname that nobody, I've called around, checked with family, nobody knows where this nickname came from. She was born in 1929. She's been on this earth all this time. Nobody knows where the nickname came from. That's not her real name. So she, Aunt Dale was like one of the real ones. Nowadays, you young girls, y'all would say she was that bee, but I don't refer to females as, that word. So she was one of the real ones, and she is the last of the Mohicans. The last of that generation that she came up in is the generation that I most admire, and the generation that I most, have tried to model my own life, around. And she was that one. She was mean, but she was funny. She was cool. She was everything. She liked to cook. She liked taking care of people. As a matter of fact, I don't think she's ever even had a job. I've never known her to have a job. She was just always taking care of people, taking care of everybody else's kids. She even raised her younger siblings because they weren't close in age to her. She raised them, I guess before she was an adult, she was raising them. So she raised her siblings, which were my aunts, my uncles, and my father. And she raised, when her sister passed, which is my other aunt, one of my other aunts, when she passed, she raised her 5 children plus her 1 daughter she had. So those 6 grew up being, got raised as pretty much her siblings. And then, of course, she's raised all those children of those kids. So she's been an aunt to 3 different generations that have actually seen her alive. But yeah, she was cool. She was that one, and gonna miss her. She was a juke joint queen. Down south, we didn't have clubs and lounges. They had juke joints, and her being in Hattiesburg, Mississippi area, Palmer's Crossing, that area, that's one of the things that I remember. She loved to dance and she loved music, and she was always in the juke joint. And I always remember, like, she would get dressed and to go out to the car, man. She got that cigarette, dangling off her bottom lip while she talking or cussing you out or yelling at you or whatever about something stupid you were doing. And she off to go to the juke joint to get her dance on, to get her, to have fun. But that was her. And I remember one of the last times that she put hands on me, I was rough as a kid. I like to have fun. And then plus growing up in Mississippi, man, I was rough. And the kids that she raised, her nieces and nephews from her sister, those were my closest cousins, because we were all cool. We were like the group of cousins that always just hung out and were together all the time, especially in the summertime. I remember one time, this is the last time she put her hands on me, because she didn't mind laying hands on you. And I ain't talking about Pentecostal Church of God in Christ laying hands on you. I'm talking about beating you. So we in the summertime, man, we love watermelon. And I remember one time we were at our house, and she cut up some watermelons, like 2 watermelons. She cut up. It was a lot of us, man. It was 5 of them and 5 of us. So she cut up a watermelon, 2 watermelons, and we were no, my siblings weren't there. It was me and them. I don't know why I was there by myself, but anyway, it was me there with my 5 cousins, 6 cousins, matter of fact, because her daughter. So she cut up 2 watermelons, and you know, down south, you don't eat no watermelon in the house in the summertime. You got to go outside on the porch, right? So she cut the watermelon up, and we were just going there getting it as we wanted to eat it. And we got on the porch. Now, this stupid little game we used to play, we would like eat watermelon, and then the seeds in your mouth, we would spit the seed, like stand, you know, one would stand here, one would stand there, and then you would stand still, and you spit seeds at each other trying to hit the other person. And you try to weave and dodge and don't get hit with it like somebody shooting you with a gun. Well, me and one of my cousins was playing that game, right? Spitting the watermelon seeds at each other. And this joke decided he wanted to cheat. He put a bunch of seeds in his mouth, held them in his mouth, and then when it was his turn, he spit them all out at me like a machine gun. And one of them hit me in the eye, and I got mad. I got hot. I threw my watermelon down, straight charged him, and we were tussling. We was getting it. We rolling back and forth on the ground, all dirty, you know, the watermelon juice everywhere, watermelon seeds stuck to the side of the face. We still scrapping. My older cousin is standing on the porch, laughing, talking about, get him, get him. I don't know which him he was talking about, because he didn't call no names, but I guess he was egging both of us on. My Aunt Dale heard the commotion. She came out on the porch. I seen her as I'm fighting. I seen her. I got my side eye going. I see her come out, and I like, oh God, we're in trouble. But I had to keep going. I said, we're already in trouble. I'm just gonna keep fighting. She didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, that's why my Aunt Dale is cool. She gonna let us get it in and finish this thing. So we still going. Now I'm going even harder, right? She ain't saying a word, and she's not telling my other cousin to break us up. So when we get done, we tired. His shirt all tore up, my shirt kind of ripped a little bit. We get done. She says, y'all done? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And I'm thinking we getting ready to go get some more watermelon and sit on the porch and eat some more watermelon. She said, now go out there and go get me a switch. So we both looked at her like, huh? And she said, I'm not gonna say it again. So we went over there to go get a switch. And you know, when you go get sent to get a switch, don't come back with nothing flimsy. Don't come back with nothing that ain't got no integrity to it, because they're just gonna send you back out there to get another one, or they gonna go get one. So as we walking to go get the switch, we both mad at each other. I'm pushing on him, he pushing on me. I'm kicking him, he kicking me. We walking to go get the switch. As he starts to tear off one, I start thinking, because I'm always a forward thinker. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure that we get one that looks like it's good, right? But I'm gonna make sure that he go first. When she start whooping him, it's gonna be lasting for a minute, but the integrity is gonna break down in it. And then by the time she get to me, it ain't gonna hurt so bad, because it ain't gonna have that sturdiness to it. It's gonna be bending and flexing. That's what I'm thinking, right? He's pulling off one, I check it. I didn't like the way it sounded. I throw that down, get another one. He gets another one. Same thing, I check it. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, this one should be good for about maybe 15, 20 strokes. And it'll start breaking down. And by the time she get to me, it's not gonna hurt. Boom. We start walking back to the house with the switch. We come up to the porch. She's like, get up here. So I pushed him right towards the porch so he can get his first. He stumbled on the porch and then went up there. She caught him in his collar and started wearing him out, right? Shirt already ripped. She got a death grip on him, and she was strong too. She got a death grip on him, wearing him out. So I'm like, yeah, I got this little smirk on my face, like, yeah, and I'm counting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I said, okay, it should be getting weak by now. It was still holding on. Now I'm getting worried. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I thought this all the way through. So She get done with him. She stopped. She on him like a good 3-4 minutes. She get done with him. She look at him and she like, oh, and you tore that shirt. She got back on him again. I'm like, oh yes. She put some more work on it so it might break down. She get him good for like another 30 seconds, another minute. I examined the switch from my position. It's still holding on. I'm like, daggone it. Like, she's like, get up here on this porch. So I got up on the porch. She started tearing me up. She wore me out. And switch, never. And I was praying. I said, okay, it didn't break down with him. He got 2. It should break down now on me. By the time she gets too deep in, I'm not gonna get the 5-6 minutes that he got, right? I think she stayed on me longer because I think she knew. She saw the smirk on my face and I think she knew what I was doing or what I had done. So I've always carried a mental notebook around with me. And in my mental notebook, I put, do not do anything ever again that you gotta get a whooping by Aunt Dale. Because that was the first one that I got from her, and that was the last one I ever got from her because she wore me out. And I think she stayed on me about a good 10 minutes, now that I think about it. So, that was my Aunt Dale. So, oh, get off me. Everybody gonna miss her. And yeah, rest in peace, Auntie.